The real shame was off the back of the promo because it really carried some weight. I think fans were so pleased he was back, we could have rode it out.
You know, just to light a fire under his ass, and you kind of just squashed the whole thing by just making this nigga go goofy again. Oh, what's up? What's up? It's Maje back here, another video. Today we're about to be reacting to a video by What Culture Wrestling. The video is going to be on 8 incredible ideas WWE abandoned immediatly. Yeah, so it's been a few people they feel like I feel like they really abandoned. They light a fire under like superstars like ass and then just like chuck them out the window. Like who's next up? They be like, who's next? Well, we gonna light a fire under under you. Just get out of here. They did that to a few people. I feel like they did, bro. First, I feel like they did it to Braun Breaker. Like, Jesus Christ, like they were pushing him heavy as fuck, and like they had like Triple H had like the innuendo of like making him like, you know, the next WWE champion. Like, and I think that I've seen on WWE that I forgot what was that bullshit called. It's that one show that does the behind the scenes, WWE Real or something like that. But yeah, they said they were about to make him win the Royal Rumble, but he says he feels like it's shoving them down their throats too. Like that's not how you feel about the bloodline. I'm not really with that, bro. And then what they're doing to Gunther is really kind of pissing me off also. I've seen in the thumbnail that they had it, and it makes me think of that. You built this man as a career killer, and then you literally have him losing so many matches. It's okay to lose a couple of matches, but like you have him losing you have him going on a losing streak. He better win the match with Nick Aldis this Sunday. Or this Sunday or Saturday. I forgot when they have PLEs. Saturday's a thing. Yeah, this Saturday. But let's just get into it and see what picks that or ideas that they have on here.
Yep, here's some good old concepts that got chucked out the window. Number 8, The Rock and John Cena's power trip. So John Cena's heel turn is a definition of controversial because by the end, most fans didn't like it. Once again, let's not pretend that on the night of the Elimination Chamber, it wasn't awesome. It was one of those moments where wrestling time itself stood still. Even my mum mentioned it, and this probably shouldn't surprise you, she doesn't watch. On that night, of course, The Rock gave the...
Bro, it got into that point like where people at work was talking about it, that people that don't even traditionally like watch wrestling kind of surprised me. You heard John Cena turned heel? Oh my god. Like, it was good for a shock moment, but like the follow-up to it, man, and the reason why he turned heel, it did not fucking pay off. That's why it failed halfway through.
Signal for John Cena to drop Cody Rhodes, and man did he. Busted the American Nightmare open something fierce, and they battered the guy, along with Travis Scott. Let's not talk about that today. That was the bad part of this. It really was so surreal because, of course, some people had wanted this for 20 years, and what the hell do you ever get after 20 years? Usually you're dead. I shouldn't have said that. Now look, forget about what did happen after this because we know the deal. Something clearly went down with Dwayne Johnson and WWE and The Rock didn't return. In a perfect world though, let's look at the headline. It was a fantastic idea. Can you imagine the Great One and Mr. You Can't See Me running rampant through WWE before John eventually won that title? Rocky could have then vanished at that point before making sporadic appearances. As John told us, you're damn right I sold my soul. I'd do it again. I wanted that 17 world title record, so whatever I gotta do. I mean, the running thread that would have continued through all of this would have ruled. I suppose, I'm hazarding a guess here, that was the plan at one point when, yes, it all fell apart and who knows why. Likely more to that story that will come out one day, but I really do think it would have taken a very divisive heel turn and turned it on his head, and maybe, just maybe, made it an all-timer. This is the kind of stupid stuff you come up with on Reddit. Ooh, this close to actually having it for real. Number 7, the Obafemi Open Challenge. Man. All right, my rent. Obafemi beating Brock Lesnar as he did at WrestleMania 42 and then moving forward would have been my choice. I get the power of the trilogy, but the impact was in Femi wrecking Lesnar and then moving forward. That's what was going to make him different. And the alternative the WWE went with was not bad, but it was just so by the numbers at a time where more risks would have been appreciated. Even more so because a new path was created and we saw it with our eyes, the Obafemi Open Challenge. Now in reality, this went like a week. Otis was brave enough to face Femi, but then immediately afterwards, we were told the rest of the locker room was good, they did not want a piece of Oba, then Brock attacked Femi and we were back to it. Now I know people are about to roll their eyes, and I mean it as a comparison as opposed to a template, but this should
honestly,
have been...
I think this whole thing was just outdone. I don't know, I guess they just trying to squeeze whatever they have out of this. I guess Brock Lesnar said Oba's one of his favorite opponents or whatever. You know, they're gonna do anything to appease Brock Lesnar, even shit, McMahon, even Triple H are just gonna do anything to appease, bro. So I guess that was a reason, but the reasons are just so stupid though of how they like added to like a feud, and especially the recent time of him challenging Lesnar at fucking SummerSlam instead of going after the WWE title. Why is that more important than you going after a WWE title, bro? The reasons they're just giving him are just so stupid. Hey, Femi's still over, but like the reason is just dumb.
Goldberg. Let Femi run through people for weeks, if not months, as his stock just goes through the roof. I mean, you are allowed to borrow from yesteryear, even more so when we are talking about 1998. For goodness sake, it's been long enough. It's not like WWE didn't have the bodies to keep this going either, and I get it's not ideal to take roster members and just ping them around, but it's also a lot better than having those guys and not using them on TV. You have a squad, bring them in. I mean, take someone like Logan Paul. He could have stepped up and lost, and him being the surprise not only gets a reaction, but he's totally fine losing. It's not going to affect him at all. It would be the same with an Uso brother and Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes, and those options don't need to be squashes either. Let them get some wax in, much like a Brock Lesnar versus a Daniel Bryan or AJ Styles. Do you remember those matches? They flipping ruled. It could have gone on for months too, meaning Obafemi bided his time before talking about world titles, and instead he won the King of the Ring and gave up his title shot. And I think that was a good idea. Why even have the tournament in the first place? Especially because Seth Rollins then got the world championship opportunity against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, and he went out round one. I'm just going to say it, I'm going to be that guy, my idea's better. Number 6, Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton. So by the time you hear this, we may have got Nick Aldis versus Gunther at SummerSlam 2026. I don't hate it. It has been a strange old follow-up for Gunther after he retired John Cena, but I also think it's a good match to let Nick Aldis break from the GM role for an evening and showcase that he actually is good, has the experiences. The thing is, it looked like it was going to be the same with Randy Orton. And to see this with your own eyes go over the last 2 years. On so many occasions, Orton heard the voices in his head and dropped Nick with an RKO, and it was effective because, of course, Aldis was an authority figure. It made sense as well because if Randy does attack him, you know he is unhinged, and as Nick also got madder and madder with each whack, well, it made a lot of us assume this was going to be on a card down the line. If you do go back...
Honestly, yeah, I honestly thought this was gonna like go down, bro. It just ended with Aldis kind of looking like a fool, basically. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna charge you this type of money, and you already know Randy already physically has that shit. Why don't you just challenge that nigga to a match? This nigga RKO'd you so many times already. You gotta do something about it. Fight back, nigga. Get your get back, bro.
To the build for WrestleMania 41, it feels even more likely because WWE was leaning into it like crazy. There was also an opening when Orton's original opponent Kevin Owens got injured. That's why everybody was guessing Nick Aldis at the time. It was happening on screen. Of course, Joe Hendry was the surprise for Randy there, and look, I'm not mad at that. It was a great moment, and also meant Hendry had one of the best debut years in WWE ever. He was a surprise here and a surprise at the Royal Rumble. I mean, that is incredible back-to-back home runs. It was just strange because something had quite clearly been built up between Randy Orton and Nick Aldis, and then we just ignored it, and dare I say, my friends, WWE even tried to make you forget. Like that Men in Black flashy thingy device. You look into it and pshoo, no, you don't remember. Number 5, R-Truth is Ron Killings. The way the
And what's kind of crazy, like they always like let Nick Aldis just get kind of. I mean, well, they carry Nick Aldis like as the GM that just doesn't get bullied a lot, and he doesn't go for that shit. That's what I admired about him being GM. I say he was one of the favorite new era GMs that came out of this era of a few recent eras. Because holy shit, it's been a ton of worse general managers since the days of Teddy Long. But yeah.
fan support brought back R-Truth after he was let go from WWE was awesome. That's when you know you've made a real connection. Everybody in unison heard the news and went, yeah, no, don't do that, that's a stupid move. It was a real fast turnaround as at 2025's Money in the Bank, Truth did return to attack bad guy John Cena, who of course had mugged him off before he was gone. The following episode of Raw, Truth then cut his dreadlocks off, which is huge, especially in that culture. It means something, damn it. And it also meant something to R-Truth. It felt like, at least for a short while, given the momentum, we could get the more serious version back. And the promo he was allowed to cut here certainly suggested that was the case. And once again, WWE just 180.
So pissed off with this
because it wasn't given a chance to. And look, I have no issue with Goofy Truth returning eventually because the man is an international treasure, and I'm not saying he had to be in the main event either. Just give him one proper last run as the dude we remember from 20 or so years ago, and when the novelty is gone, sure, fine, no issues, back to the fun stuff. The real shame was off the back of the promo because it really carried some weight. I think fans were so pleased he was back, we could have rode it out, especially as it would have meant even more when the silly side eventually.
Honestly, this had me going. Honestly, it really did have me going. I thought they were about to like change up R-Truth, and we're about to get something great out of this whole like thing that just kind of came out of an unfortunate like firing, and just a light of fire under his ass, and you you kind of just squash the whole thing by just making this nigga go goofy again. It's just like a random ass episode. This nigga started to just be goofy again. He attacked John Cena, and then out of nowhere, going back to the goofy shit. Like, what was the point, man? Why would you give him an opportunity to express himself in a promo? That promo was great, bro. Especially coming back, and then y'all end up just doing him dirty.
Came back. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Now, the criticism once again seems to be that True shouldn't have been anywhere near the top of the card at this point of his career, but who was saying he needed to be there to begin with? A serious run in the mid-card still would have hit, given that he is nearer to the end of his career than the beginning. And also, let's just talk about this honestly, there was no reason as to why this stopped. It just did. That's really annoying. Makes me feel stupid. Number 4, Roxanne. And
honestly, just because he's that age, man, bro, he doesn't even look. Bro, everybody can collectively agree, bro doesn't even look his age. Especially a lot of people that are like 50 right now actually look 50, but R-Truth doesn't.
Dom. So for around 2 years, Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan have been in an on-screen relationship. It really worked, especially as Dommy dropped Rhea Ripley for this to happen. He went double heel, and as we all know, you never go double heel. Roxanne Perez was then called up to the main roster and inserted herself around the Judgment Day because, yeah, she was hinting that maybe, just maybe, she had the hots for Mysterio too. Every time Liv left the room, Roxanne tried to take advantage, and Morgan was getting more and more annoyed at this, and it felt like Perez could actually be the catalyst for the Judgment Day ending, while also revealing, ta-da! I don't really like you, Dominic Mysterio. I just wanted to cause a fuss and take over. Now I do get it. Liv suffered a horrible injury in June on Raw, which put her out for 6 months. That was always going to waylay things. When Morgan returned, once again, it was all just forgotten about. Sort of felt to me like WWE could have used the absence to push this harder, and they did for a week or so, when, say it with me, it got dropped. Given that Roxanne lost direction after this too, yeah, Liv Morgan didn't need.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Roxanne kind of really lost that direction after this. It would have been a great, like, kind of, story, like a poetic story, because Liv took Dom from Rhea, and then it could either went either way with Roxanne. She can either just like take over and kick them out of the group, or take over and just take Dom from Liv and kick Liv out. And then that could just end up with like Rhea and Liv kind of just reuniting the team together. I mean, there's so much shit you could tell from that, honestly. But I know it would be predictable. But honestly, at least it's some kind of good storytelling. But like unfortunate shit happens, and people get injured, and kind of it goes sideways. But like Roxanne has kind of became directionless, especially right now of what just happened yesterday. As of this recording, I think I forgot damn it, Raquel, she just became the Intercontinental Champion. So like 2 of the girls in the whole little in the whole little dynamic have the championship. The women's titles on that brand. And like Roxanne literally has nothing right now. So I wonder what's gonna happen, if she's gonna be jealous, or a feud is gonna start between her and Liv. I guess that's probably the plan.
To come back as a babyface, but some rage towards Perez for the manipulation she had retrieved during her time away would have been good, even more so because the Day of Judgment were ready to be broken up. I mean, it's been an incredible run for that group, but you never want to miss the mark, so this one was a shame. I also think you could have gone into the Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez feud and just let the fans decide who they want to be the babyface. Not every single thing needs to be decided behind the scenes. There's a word for it, and it is annoying, but it's called being organic. Number 3, GTV. So let's go back in time and also whack a maybe on this. It's hard to say for sure that it would have been okay, because a lot of good Attitude Era ideas soon went off the rails, but yes, it was GTV. And if you need to know, it was basically a series of backstage incidences that somebody was filming in secret. And as mad as this does sound, the potential was there. I mean, imagine if eventually GTV had caught D-Generation X bad-mouthing each other. It was 1999 after all, you could have run with it. The rumor was it was always going to have been attributed to Goldust, hence the name GTV, but as soon as it began, it was gone, and who knows why. The idea was clearly inspired by the current boom in reality TV, and amazingly, there was another rumor that Tom Green, the comedian, was going to be behind this. I mean, the G does work again. If we follow that thread, apparently Vince McMahon kiboshed all that, because he did not think Tom was funny enough. I don't believe that for 1 second, but still, good idea. And you could repackage.
Again, it always goes back to, Vince McMahon, because that was his company at the time, and he had heavy control of creative back then. And bro, it would have been a better concept instead of just like abandoning the whole thing. Cause like, come on, bro, at least make some storyline out of it. I just hate when a storyline is just completely abandoned. I mean, something terrible can come out of it, but at least it'll be a storyline.
Today, if done right, what's the two things that everybody likes in professional wrestling? Scandal and mystery. Number 2, Otis and Mandy Rose. This was all good to go in 2020, and WWE sort of half-assed it. As we built to WrestleMania 36, though, Otis was feuding with Dolph Ziggler with Mandy Rose bang in the middle of it. The story was maybe, just maybe, Rose would pick Otis over the chiseled Dolph, and fans ate it up. It all went down at the show of shows too because Mandy ran out to ignore Ziggler and whack Sonya Deville for good measure. Otis and Mandy Rose then kissed. Roll credits. Now, you wanted some sort of follow-through or payoff because of course you do, but nope. Instead, WWE basically ended this instantly. You've got your moments, and now, damn it, you better forget about it no more. Now, it doesn't feel like this way at the time, but it does mean that down the line,
this feels like a whole fever dream because it was the pandemic, bro. I felt like I was kind of like watching, but the story was just in the background, bro. This was like riding off of like, I think Otis actually losing his damn Money in the Bank. Bro, that's like another story in itself of WWE doing stupid things with the damn Money in the Bank.
Fans are less likely to invest. If you know things are just going to stop, or subconsciously you don't buy in as much. This was working too, meaning the eventual breakup also would have hit hard, maybe would have cried. I mean, why do you think Shakespeare wrote tragedies? Sometimes sadness makes for the best tales. It's only fair to say the pandemic played a part in this, but the counter-argument to that is surely we needed more soap opera nonsense to appeal to the audience. So I would call this one a drop ball. I was genuinely quite enjoying it. Number 1, CM Punk versus Steve Austin. Now sure, who knows what state Steve Austin's neck was in back in 2012. Health and happiness first and foremost, but we also saw him return at WrestleMania 38, so it makes things over a decade earlier very interesting. It all ties into the WWE 13 video game because yeah, CM Punk was on the cover, and to try and create some noise, Jim Ross did a sit-down interview with Punk and Steve Austin, and man, if you have not seen that, change it today. Punk and Steve decided to go off at each other like a flipping match was on the cards. People still discover this today and cannot believe it was just for WWE 13, because even JR sells it's like a dream match is incoming. Steve Austin becomes stone cold in front of your eyes, which is going to fill you with glee. It had been 10 years since his last match. That just made it even more wonderful. Punk is also clearly loving every second, and yes, WWE should have done more to turn this into something. Even more so because on June 2011, CM Punk and Steve Austin also had another face-to-face on TV, on Raw, and surprise, surprise, that ruled too. And of course, look.
Oh, man. I'm really sad that one was kind of dry. I mean, the parallels, you can't really kind of like tell if Steve Austin will kind of be ready or even want to wrestle because like yeah, you never know what type of thing his neck was in. You never position his kind of neck was in, bro. But yeah, a lot of the stuff on this list, WWE dropped the ball with, like, you know, kind of like just abandoning the storyline, and some of the stuff on this list was just kind of due to injury, like the Liv Morgan thing. But I feel like they could have just like recuperated and, you know, kind of brought it back. And you could, I mean, honestly, you could have did something with that because she was literally flirting with Dom like when Liv was injured, bro. So Liv could have came back, you know, gave Roxanne some shit for that, and they could have just started the feud from that. But they decided to kick Finn Balor out. Honestly, maybe the Judgment Day need to be ended, bro. Because, you know, Dom is doing some great stuff in AAA, honestly, right now. If you haven't watched AAA, go check out some clips. But don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Go check out the original video below and tell me what you guys think of this video and what was kind of missed that you guys have some ball knowledge on like them dropping storylines. But don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We are on the road to 850. Catch you guys in the next video.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?